After years of controversy, drama, and a trial that shook the rap world, Young Thug, one of hip-hop's brightest stars, is finally facing the consequences of his actions. But before walking out of the courtroom, he delivered a powerful, tear-filled apology that had everyone talking.
I promise you, I'm 100% changing that. It's just, I'm older, I'm grown now, and it's just like, I'm smarter, there's more things to rap about. Like, I've experienced a lot of good things. I experienced more bad things, but I experienced a lot of good things too. And anyway,
What did he really say? And does this mark the end of an era or the beginning of a new chapter? Let's examine his emotional plea and what it means for his future and the future of rap. Background of the Young Thug case. Young Thug is the founder of YSL Records, a record label that has produced some of the most influential artists in the rap industry, including Gunna and Lil Keed. However, in May 2022, things took a drastic turn when authorities launched a major investigation into the YSL collective. Prosecutors in Georgia's Fulton County allege that YSL is not just a record label, but a criminal street gang that has been involved in various illegal activities, including drug trafficking, racketeering, and violent crime. On May 9, 2022, Young Thug was arrested as part of a sweeping indictment known as the Georgia RICO case. The indictment accused him of conspiring to violate Georgia's Racketeer, Influenced and Corrupt Organizations, RICO Act. Originally designed to target organized crime, this law allows prosecutors to charge individuals involved in a criminal enterprise, even if they were not directly involved in the specific crimes. Thug faced a dozen charges, including participation in criminal street gang activity, conspiracy to violate the RICO Act, possession of drugs and firearms, and attempted murder. He was arrested alongside 27 other alleged members of the YSL gang. The YSL case has recently been one of the most high-profile trials, mainly because it involves well-known hip-hop artists. Many co-defendants, including Gunna, have already taken plea deals, drawing attention to the legal strategy of pleading guilty to lesser charges in exchange for reduced sentences or immunity. As the trial progressed in 2023 and 2024, many of Thug's associates, including his close collaborator Gunna, pled guilty to lesser charges. Gunna's plea deal, which involved pleading guilty to racketeering charges, sparked significant debate within the hip-hop community, with many questioning whether it was a sign of weakness or a strategic move. Young Thug's non-negotiated plea deal. After over 2 years of waiting, arrests, and trial proceedings, Young Thug faces the consequences of his actions. But in an unexpected twist, he made a powerful statement before walking out of the courtroom that captured millions' attention. In October 2024, after a lengthy trial, Young Thug agreed to a non-negotiated plea deal. This meant that, unlike his co-defendants, who may have had their sentences reduced through negotiations, Thug took responsibility for his charges and pled guilty without any prior promises of leniency.
Yes, ma'am. I take full responsibility for, my crimes or my charges.
In his guilty plea, Thug admitted to several charges tied to his involvement in gang-related activities, but avoided some of the more severe charges, including those related to the alleged RICO conspiracy. I hope you'll allow me to go home today. I promise I won't ever end up in a situation like this again.
I hope that you allow me to go home today and just trust in me to just do the right thing and never see you again unless it's at a bar in the future or something. Just out of this type of situation, I promise you I won't ever be in this type of situation again. I'm going away. I've learned from my mistakes. I come from nothing and I've made something and I didn't take full advantage of it. I'm sorry.
I've learned from my mistakes. I've learned what it really means to be a role model. Young Thug asked for a second chance, promising he had learned from his mistakes and wouldn't repeat them. He realized the responsibility of being a role model and wanted to make things right.
I'm sorry to the sheriff, everybody for just having to put extra time in. I know y'all got paid more money, but I'm sorry for y'all having to put this extra time in to be away from y'all family,
The court found enough factual evidence to convict Thug, But his legal team worked to negotiate a reduced sentence. One of the most impactful moments of this legal saga occurred during young Thug's sentencing hearing when he delivered a heartfelt, emotional speech in front of the judge. He publicly apologized for his actions, expressed remorse for the pain his family had suffered, and shared his newfound understanding of the consequences of his choices. Thug emphasized that he had a good heart and regretted his mistakes in his career and personal life. Thug also took time to reflect on how fame and success led him into dangerous situations, explaining how he allowed himself to get involved with street life despite his good intentions and efforts to give back to his community through charity. He acknowledged the harmful impact of gang culture and rap lyrics on young listeners and promised to change his ways moving forward.
All right, so it is not lost on the court that the state, had they been able to come to agreement on certain special conditions, was willing to entirely dismiss the RICO count, was willing to entirely dismiss one of the gang counts, and was willing to entirely dismiss this, machine gun count. Was willing to give a sentence that permitted Mr. Williams to walk out of the door today, and therefore does not seem to be particularly worried that Mr. Williams, if on the streets, would be a danger to society.
The court recognizes that the state was willing to dismiss key charges, suggesting they don't view young Thug as a major threat to society and believe in his potential for change.
A nolo plea to the RICO count in one of the two gang counts. I would not be permitting the nolo to the one if you were not pleading guilty to at least one of them. But you are, and y'all admit a factual basis for the counts that you are pleading guilty to. I find there to be a factual basis for those counts and for the remaining counts with which you are charged. I am going to impose a sentence, and I've taken a little bit of the suggested special conditions from the defense and a little bit of the special conditions suggested by the prosecution. On count one, the court sentence is 20 years to serve 5.
The sentencing of young Thug, Jeffery Williams, marked the conclusion of a long and highly publicized legal battle. After taking a non-negotiated plea deal, Thug pled guilty to a range of charges tied to gang activity, racketeering, and other criminal offenses. The court's decision on his sentence was a mix of punishment and a recognition of his potential for rehabilitation. Young Thug was sentenced to 40 years, but with a backloaded sentence, meaning he will serve 5 years in prison, followed by 15 years of probation. The remaining 20 years of his sentence were suspended, offering him a chance for early release, provided he complied with the terms of his probation. This sentence reflects a compromise between the severity of his charges and the recognition of his potential for rehabilitation. While Thug pled guilty to some of the RICO charges, which accuse him of participating in a criminal enterprise and gang-related offenses, the court acknowledged the plea by agreeing to dismiss other related charges, which contributed to the reduced sentence. The rapper could have faced even harsher penalties if these charges had gone to trial. Thug will serve a 5-year prison sentence up front. This means that, after the sentencing, he is expected to serve 5 years in a correctional facility. Following his 5 years in prison, Thug will be placed for 15 years, during which time he will need to adhere to strict conditions laid out by the court. Violating any of these conditions could lead to additional prison time. The remaining 20 years of his sentence have been suspended. This means that he will not have to serve that time in prison unless he violates the terms of his probation or commits any additional crimes during the probationary period. The suspended portion is a deterrent, giving Thug a second chance. If he successfully completes his probation and does not violate any of the conditions set by the court, he may avoid serving the remaining 20 years. Young Thug's sentence reflects a blend of punishment and redemption, offering him a chance at rehabilitation while holding him accountable for his involvement in organized crime and gang activity. The suspended portion of his sentence is a strong deterrent against future offenses. At the same time, the probation period allows him to demonstrate that he can live a law-abiding life and positively influence others. Despite the controversy surrounding his case and his charges, the court's decision signals a belief in second chances, offering Thug an opportunity to rebuild his life and career while ensuring that his actions are held accountable. If you found this breakdown of Young Thug's case insightful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more updates on trending topics and legal stories. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you in the next one.